In the words of Kim and Nikki Parker, hey, welcome back to my channel. It's me, Curly Katie Lamb, and I'm here today to do a review of Blackish Season 7, Episode 3. Now, I think I am going to go back and do a Blackish review of the first two episodes now that I watched it. And, usually I didn't, plan on reviewing Blackish because I was like, Blackish doesn't really have a set plot. The episodes are really based on what's happening on the time in that episode. It doesn't really have a cohesive plot, if that makes sense. Like how on Grownish, to me, there was a buildup of events happening. I don't feel like that was the case with Blackish. So I'm just going to be reviewing the episode last night. And if I'm not mistaken, it is called something about being essential. I just want to say, Blackish to me is becoming that show. And what I mean by that show, I'm meaning like Blackish is well on its way to becoming an iconic black sitcom, especially since they're in season 7. And with this episode primarily, focusing around essential workers and what's going on right now in 2020. So I think they truly have captured the essence of, the thoughts, the feelings, and emotions that people have captured in 2020 as far as handling, I don't know what you could say here on YouTube, but as far as you can, handling the pandemic, that's what I'm going to say. And I feel like the writers in Blackish definitely captured, what needed to be said and felt throughout the episode. Now, I'm not one of those people who believe that you should let things like this get you in fear, but I know a lot of people have been feeling fear, and that's not okay because, there has been a fear. I feel like there has been a fear based narrative pushed along with the pandemic, and I feel like instead of there being knowledge being passed out to the people, a lot of things have been swept under the rug in terms of the pandemic. So we're just going to start out with Bo being an essential worker. And I think Bo being an essential worker, of course, we know Bo works at the Pacific Hospital, and they live in LA. And she was an anesthesiologist, but of course, during the time, especially in the beginning, when a lot of people didn't know about, everything in terms of exactly about COVID or whatever, a lot of the hospitals stacked their employees because they expected them to have an influx of people. And so I like how Blackish really captured Bo's character and her job and what it was to be marked as an essential worker. Of course, Dre being an ad man, they also gave you the perspective of somebody working a professional job and working from home. And I liked how he had on like the button up at the top, and then he had the basketball shorts and the slides at the bottom. It legit be like that. It legit be like that. And like in the beginning of the pandemic, I used to work from home quite a few days out the week, and I would only go in office maybe once or twice a week. And so, like staying at home and being in your pajamas, oh my god, legit, like working from home was the best thing. Like I loved working from home. I could get things done around the house. I could still watch TV and be comfortable. And then, of course, get my work done. Everything was fully functional from the house. I mean, I had my phone and my laptop, everything. But back to Bo working at the hospital. Um, they, of course, dressed everyone. Everybody had their PPE on. They had the mask and the shields, and it was just giving the perspective of what exactly a doctor goes through in a day. Of course, it wasn't exactly to the T because I did see some comments on Twitter about how Blackish kind of dumbed down, you know, what exactly was happening. But it's only but so much they can put in an episode in 17 to 20 minutes. But I definitely think the episode was so relatable. And I liked how the whole thing with Junior, it showed how young people, how the pandemic affected young people. And typically, in today's, young people like to hang out. I'm young. And, the pandemic definitely put a damper on relationships because we went from being extremely social to being extremely antisocial, and there was no middle ground. And then you have people who are taking, the pandemic seriously, and there are other people who are like, YOLO, I'm just gonna live my life, whatever happens, happens. But from the doctor's perspective, Bo's perspective, that seems very irresponsible, which it was. And if it isn't one thing that I think we all should have learned, and that, something that I heard in church, is that we need to take our health seriously. And that is very true. We need to take our health seriously. Every time you walk out the house, you need to make sure that you have your mask on and that you are social distancing and that you are practicing, preventative care, because you have to care about the lives of others as well as yourself. And typically people who don't naturally care about themselves are not going to have any regard for others. And so that's one thing that Bo tried to relay over to Junior during the episode when Junior was trying to sneak his girlfriend into his house. She wanted to establish that there was a bubble in their home, and because she goes out and saves lives every day, she would at least, she thought that her family understood the importance. But she was very adamant to Junior that, I see this every day, I deal with this every day. And in order for our household to work a certain way, and for, us to, stay healthy and stay alive, this is what needs to happen. And this was at the time when, basically almost everything was closed as well. I like how Blackish also mentioned the supermarket worker, and how the supermarket workers didn't have no choice but to go to work because people needed food in order to stay in the house. And how she said that one of the girls, she had to, I think, put something down her throat because the girl couldn't breathe. And so she was saying how, that really affected her, and how she was Junior's age, or was she her age? It was either one. She was either Junior's age or Bo's age. But either way, Bo had to, operate on her. And Bo said it really affected her because Bo is in perfect health, Junior is in perfect health, but at the same time, Junior's putting all their health at risk because he wants to see his girlfriend. So I thought that was something good. Also, going back to Dre, the thing with Zoom, they were having a Zoom call me, and I was just like, oh my gosh, who knew that, like, if Skype knew that, like, this was going to happen, I think, Skype would have came up with something. Not to say that they didn't, but, back in the day, Uvu, oh my gosh, y'all, we used to Uvu, and Uvu and Zoom are basically the same thing, except you could be on Uvu as long as you want. With Skype, that wasn't the case, but I guess Skype is for the more professional, not Skype, I guess Zoom is for the more professional setting, and Uvu was for social purposes, but still. What else stuck out to me in the episode? Also at the end when she made Junior quarantine in a room, I thought that was so funny because he said that Jack and Diane had been bringing him Lunchables. Oh my God, I just thought that was so funny. When she literally made him stay in his room. I don't know how long he had to stay in his room for, and he couldn't have any interaction with the family. But Bo was not playing, and they put caution tape on his door and everything. I just thought that was so funny. But yeah, I have really come to love Blackish. And the crazy thing is, I never even really started off watching Blackish when it came out. Blackish came out in 2014, and I legit started watching Blackish last year. And if it wasn't for, Hulu, I probably would have never given a show like Blackish a chance, because I typically, when I used to watch cable, I never watched anything scripted. I only watched reality TV. But now that I'm getting a little bit older and a little bit more mature, I don't really watch reality TV so much now. And now that, like all these different platforms are getting these TV shows where you can go and binge watch. Child, one day I just ended up watching Blackish, and here I am. I done watched the whole show of Blackish through twice. And I love the issues. I love Grownish. And I'm coming to love Mixedish. And that's just that, y'all. So I think that's all that stuck out to me on this episode per se. But I'm interested to see how the rest of the season is going to play out in terms of what's going on here in 2020 and how everything is going on in the world, and just how they put their spin on it, because parts of the world are different, especially in the United States. Like, there are some states that are more closed and that are more cautious, and then there are other states where people are just roaming free, like Georgia. They just doing whatever they want to do in Georgia and in Florida. But then you got states like, I hear California is not playing, and like New York put their people on restricted quarantine, like nobody could leave the house. So things are different. But since this show takes place in California, it's easy. It's interesting to see the perspective the Californians have on what's going on with the pandemic. So yeah, that's all, y'all. I just want to say, rate, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to like this video, share this video, and follow me on Instagram and Twitter at CurlyKidGlam. And I'll be back with more videos. Deuces.